Morning.
This is Dina Red.
Yes.
I'm of Chauncey Sherdina's Child Care Center, but I am also your devoted and loyal administrative secretary, and I'm calling to add my congratulations to the many that you are receiving on that beautiful banquet last weekend.
You were impressed with
it? It was
it?
wonderful.
You were impressed with it?
Ma'am?
You were impressed with the banquet?
I am the daughter of the owners of the daycare, and I am also their personal executive secretary. I work from home.
Okay, now, were you pleased with the banquet? Hello?
Hello, I'm here. I can't hear you.
Were you pleased with the banquet?
Yes, was I at the banquet?
No, were you pleased with it? I know
Miss
you were there
Luper, yes,
in that beautiful white outfit you had on.
Silver, wasn't it?
I was absolutely marveled. And I was door help. I have to admit, I was door help, and I worked the front door and greeted the guests. And Miss Luper, I was so intrigued by all of the beautiful people who came out. There were so many people who came out, and with this being the time of year of the primary elections, there were even politicians there. But there was no bias. There was no mention of any favoritism for your program toward anyone. We just welcomed everybody and loved the idea of having to break bread with the people of Oklahoma City in honor of the sit-in movement. And it's so important. There is nothing else being provided to the public in terms of an event of this sort to recognize and to commemorate the importance of the sit-in movement.
Well, thank you so very kindly, and I was impressed with you, and I would like to publicly thank you, and I have a job for you, and I'll have to see you sometime today.
Okay, well, I'll be waiting by the phone.
Well, thank you so very kindly.
Bye-bye.
That was my beautiful administrative secretary.
Well, yeah, definitely she was beautiful. She was out of sight Saturday night with that special hat she had on. I don't know where Dina got that, but you never know about how people can come up with these beautiful outfits. You know, we think of different places where they go shop, but then you don't see that on the mannequins anymore. You have to go out and really see the true beauty that we have as black folk here in Oklahoma City, and they were there Saturday night.
That are signing the petition to keep the name Fred selection for parking. The telephone number is 231.
What do you mean by that?
The ultimate selection. If you drive down to Bricktown, you don't have to worry about where to park. All you have to do is to go to 4 stations. You can go to Mickey Mouse Steakhouse, Bricktown, Brewers, or you can go to go to any of those places, and you will see well-dressed valet parking. And they will park your car and take care of the
So you can feel like a millionaire even though you only have a couple of hundred in your pocket, eh?
Hey, Calvin, I would like to thank the hundreds of people that have signed the petition to keep the name Frederick Douglass at Frederick Douglass High School in Oklahoma City. I have over 3,000 signatures, but I need 5,000. And those of you that have not signed, I would like for you to be sure and sign a petition. Now, it's very, very important that this state, this nation, and this world will know exactly where we are. I've had people to call me from Guam. I had people to call me from Las Vegas, from Texas, and all about it. And I'm going to tell you a story that I don't like to tell, but I'm like Abram Ross. I don't make the news. I just report the news. I had the opportunity last week to attend the Douglass High School's meeting that was sponsored by, I don't know who sponsored it because I asked a question. And this really was disturbing to me because of the fact that the staff members or somebody in the Board of Education called for a meeting at 6 o'clock on Tuesday. Now, what was so disturbing about this, that was election day. And most people realize that on election day, people vote. Many of us, many of the people get out for work late, and therefore they go to vote at 6. And many people become involved by taking people to the polls. But that was not of interest to the people that planned that meeting. I went to Douglass High School, that's located on Martin Luther King Street, and went into the meeting and waited patiently. I asked a question. Why would you have a meeting on election day? Nobody knew who was responsible for the meeting.
Somebody had to be.
But they didn't say. Everybody was passing the buck. And then finally we got down to what we were very concerned about. And I would like to make our position clear. We do not mind them adding new courses to Douglas High School. In fact, we think it's commendable. But we do mind when someone go in after 101 years and say, now we are building a new school and no longer is the name Douglas High School good enough. We are going to add Douglas High School, no, not Douglas High Law and Business Academy. And then someone asked about the naming of the school. The man that was presiding said that's a decision that must be made by the Board of Education, and we have some members of the Board of Education present. At that time, Mrs. Parks got up, and I was shocked, ladies and gentlemen. Mrs. Parks got up, an elected board member, and started, I don't know, I guess I'm from Hoffman, Oklahoma, and I guess I felt that she was talking down to my people. She said, and I quote directly from Mrs. Thelma Packs, there are 8 members on the Board of Education, and those 8 members and those 8 members alone will make the decision whether to change the name of Douglas High School. Now, I want to repeat, and I said, I don't believe this, because I know Mrs. Parks realized that those of us that's been to school one day would know that there are 8 members on the Board of Education. But she repeated again. Now there are only 8 members on the Board of Education, and they alone will decide to change the name or not change the name. And ladies and gentlemen, I raise my black hand like I have so many times. I've done it in Washington, D.C. with the late Senator Kerr, and he answered me. I've done it with Senator McMaroney, Senator Edmondson. I've done it with governors and judges and people. So I continue to hold my black hand up. And somebody in the audience say, recognize Mrs. Luper.
Wait. You had your hand up.
I had my hand up, and I was standing up because I had a question, Calvin.
Okay, and she was basically ignoring you? Is that what you...
I don't know whether she was ignoring me. Maybe she didn't see me. But I do know that someone in the audience, 2 or 3 people, say, Mrs. Luper, recognize Mrs. Luper. So then my time came for my question, and my question was so simple. I said in a very humble way, Mrs. Parks, I am here tonight representing over 3,000 people that have signed a petition asking for the name of Douglas High School to remain the same. And what I would like to know at this time, whether or not you, as our representative, will vote to keep Douglas High School as Douglas High School. And Calvin, at that time, she started yelling at me. She yelled, and finally she moved toward me, pointing her finger in my face, and she told me that she was an elected official, and she would do what she wanted to do, and nothing I could do about it. But Calvin, I pointed my finger back in her face, and I said, Mrs. Parks, the question is, are you going to vote with us? And by that time, she started raging, and she started hollering at me. And other people, she said, I don't care what you think. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that an elected official would act in that manner. Well, I need not tell the rest of the story, but I would like to remind elected officials, whether they are black, white, brown, or polka dot, you must remember that it's your constituents that put you there. At that moment, I thought about the people that had prayed so long to have a black representative on the Board of Education. I thought about Mr. F.D. Moon that we were able to ask questions to. I thought about Shirley Darrell and others who had worked so hard. But standing in front of me was a lady that was angry because I had asked her a question. And she told me that she was not going to tell us how she was going to vote, that she would vote according to what she wanted to do. But at that time, I thought that she was a representative of those of us Those of us that have been on our knees praying for the day to come that we would have an elected official. And I wish Mrs. Parks would call me. The telephone number is 67212.
20. Mom, you know, it was really sad.
You were there. You saw it.
I came in. I was one of those people who were late voting, and I finished voting, and I came rushing down to Douglas High School because it is definitely a place that I'm concerned with, having graduated from Douglas, having seen the building being built, having watched the growth of it, having watched the football, the basketball teams, having seen the students over the years attend Douglas High School, walking to school, riding the bus to school, swinging rides to school. But I was shocked and I was insulted by the way that Mrs. Parks acted. I felt like when she was talking that we were back in the 6th grade classroom, and there were those of us in there who got many a gray hair on our face, you know, and we were over 50 years of age and still being talked down to by an elected representative that hopefully we thought would be aware of our feelings in the community and would respond accordingly. Some of the reactions that we felt there, we were there and we saw Mrs. Parks coming up to you, and then when she started pointing, Mom, I said, oh my goodness gracious, and it was close enough where I really didn't know, and I must compliment you on not striking her, because any other adult would have come up in somebody's face and pointed like that. I think it would have been on. But from somewhere, your past training or something, you did not. And I thought Mrs. Parks was going to strike you for asking that question. And it was so silly. We didn't know. Everybody, I think, was in a state of shock. Now, what is she really doing, and what is she really saying? But we left that meeting with the definite impression that our elected school board representative did not give one hoot about what we thought. And it was all about Thelma Parks and all about what she was going to do. And I invite Mrs. Parks too, Mom, to call the radio show. And I told her after the meeting that, the opportunity would be there. But I asked her personally again, Mrs. Parks, are you going to vote for the naming of Douglas High School in the state of St.? She told me it was none of my business. And I don't understand it. I pay my taxes, I drive slow in the school zones. One of the coaches from Douglas come up saying that we don't come to enough basketball games, enough football games, so we really have no reason to even care about Douglas High School. I pointed out to him that, it's more than attending these events as it is a love and a concern for a high school that means a lot to this community. But the actions of my school board member and the action of Coach Williams, that was a sad day, I think, and sad day that I felt like that happened there in a public place at Douglas High School
in the
cafeteria when we were there because of our love and our concern for an institution named Douglas High School. And I think we want to make sure that Douglas stays on Martin Luther King Avenue. Now, they're so slick, and I think something is being hidden down there in the school board. And the way Mrs. Parks reacted, it reminded me of when you see a kid and you ask them if they've done something, they immediately go crazy. No, I didn't do it. No, I didn't do it, And that's the way it... But she acted like she had something to hide. And there might be something in the wood pile down there.
But Calvin, see, those of us that's in the NACP, you know how hard we fought against neighborhood schools. Now, we realize that the people that live in the Douglas area aren't having babies as rapidly as other people, which means that if we give in now and change the name of Douglas High School and make it a business school, a school for business and law, we have to look at the facts. We have to understand first that because if, as a basketball player, I get into that business class and flunk, I cannot play basketball, and I will not be able to become professional. If I get in that law class and I don't understand the ex post facto laws and all that, I can be flunked, and I will not be able to play football, tennis, or what have you, and get a scholarship. And it also means that the enrollment in law and business will decrease, and they can accomplish that goal of closing Douglas High School.
You think that's the bottom line, Mom?
I think. Now, this is what Clara Luper's thinking. You got to realize I'm from Hoffman, Oklahoma, and we look further than what we see. Because when we went down to the Deep Fork River, we not only saw crawdads we saw fish. I believe that if we establish a business, change it. Now look, the football team, run out on the team. Go Douglas High Business and Law Academy. How are you going to say that?
Well, the cheerleaders
wipe away all of your history. And thank God I've just come from Hawaii, where I saw a tree that was 1,000 years old, and people were still representing and telling people about that tree. What will my children be able to tell their children and their children when they come and look at Douglas High School facing Carbondale? Who was Mr. Carbondale? Call and tell me. I'm sure he was some white guy. And if you can instill in kids Carbondale in place of Martin Luther King, you've lost the dream. And I can tell you one thing: Vera Barr, Mrs. Hamilton, Mrs. Woods, and others are going to get out here, and they are going to get petitions signed along with those of you that love your school. Now, don't let anybody fool you with a big name. You can take a pig from Hoffman, Oklahoma, put him on a new suit, put him in the living room, he's still a pig. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and this portion of our show is being brought to you by Clara Luper. Clara Luper has said.
Catfish.
People's catfish will be
proud of the fact that we don't mind being vocal about something that's close to our heart. But we have a call on the line. We had a caller on the line. Kind of got tired of waiting. Call back, caller 672.
But one thing that we must tell everybody, that Clara Luper is not scared of nobody. And
you sure did act it then. I thought it was on.
Had a lot of kin folks. You got to remember that the Halls, the Hendersons, the Rivers, the Shepherds, the Davis, all of my kin folks, and you haven't done that. When you hit Clara Luper, you're hitting Dungy High School, you're hitting Douglas High School, you're hitting John Marshall High School, and I need not tell you.
Northwest class.
Yes, I need not tell you about Grayson High School. Oh, my gracious alive. Because Grayson still loves me, and incidentally, I know I'm smart because I graduated from in the top 5 of my class. However, there were only 5 in my class. And those 5 would really be excited, and all of us are still living if they knew somebody pointed their finger in my face.
Oh,
this is Clara Luper.
Well,
yes, Calvin.
For over 100 years, the name Douglas High School has stood. The name represents a man that started under humble conditions and was able to overcome obstacles and make significant contributions to America. The name Douglas High School has been a source of pride for students, teachers, and citizens across America. The name Frederick Douglass High School represents education for the masses. We supported the MAPS program, which included the proposal to improve the facility of Douglas High School. No name change. We know that there is something in a name, therefore we call upon the Oklahoma City Board of Education to keep the name Douglas High School for the educational facility located at 900 North Martin Luther King Avenue in Oklahoma City. We call upon the board to improve the curriculum, but to keep the name Douglas High School.
Dr. Dew has told us that the curriculum is improving at Douglas High School. I'm going to my white board members, and I'm going to each one of them. I'm going to ask them the same question. And I don't believe, Calvin, that a white board member in this town will point his or her finger in my face and tell me that's none of my business.
Something was wrong with that picture all the way through and through. And because of the way, not only did she point at you, but she met the next person that asked a question, she got up in their face and was talking down to them.
That was Mackenzie Jones.
Mackenzie Jones, and she had him go out. She was just acting like we were impeding upon her progress, that we were in the way of what she wanted to do. And I was confused, and I'm still confused. That Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we've discussed it many a time in different places with different people. Can't figure out yet what Mrs. Parks was really saying, except we do not have any opinions. We can't tell her nothing about doing nothing about what we think is good for our school.
Well, in the next 5 minutes, I will give you, the people of opportunity, the people in Oklahoma City, to tell me, do you think I was wrong by asking that question? If so, call me at 672-1220. 1220.
1220. That's
Be sure
easy to remember.
and call.
672-1220. Man, we're very fortunate, though.
We have some very distinguished guests that will be here at a quarter to 10. Yes, for 15 minutes. They're going to talk to us about something that concerns all of us.
You think we can learn that in the classroom? What they're going to talk about? Well,
of course.
We better wait and see.
Of course.
Call that friend, call that neighbor.
I'm more concerned about health than I am with law. I was in Hawaii and I looked in the classified ads. I didn't see no cry for lawyers, business people. And we have a new business in Oklahoma City that's on 23rd and right off of 23rd and Bryant. Oh my gracious.
23rd and Bryant.
Oh yes, I would going to go out there and try some of that.
23rd and Bryant. Oh, chicken. Okay, that's the place with the big pool in front of it.
Hello.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I recognize that voice, Mom.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
That's my sixth grade teacher.
I understand all of that, but I want to set the record straight.
Who are we talking with?
You're talking to me, the person that you have tried to distort the facts about what I said.
What did you say?
I never said, never, ever from day one did I say that I was going to vote to change the school. That was the one thing that I said when this was first brought up, and I understand you started all of this. I said Douglas's name will never be changed.
What did
but
you say
what
to me?
you tried to do the other night, you tried to make me tell you how I was going to vote. And I did not say it was none of your business. I said I am not going to tell you how I'm going to vote. So all I want you to do is to keep the record straight. And tell them when I left that place, I never told you it was none of your business. I simply told you that I don't have to tell people how I'm going to vote. That's my personal right, and I don't have to tell anybody. But I have never, ever said that I was going to change or vote to change Douglas High School. Anybody who has been coming to the meetings, anybody who's been coming to the board meetings, anybody who has been coming anywhere, they know what my position is about the change. So you need to keep your facts straight and don't distort the truth. And you did that this morning. My neighbor came running over here with a portable radio and said, I want you to hear what these people are saying about you. All these years you've been on the board working for this district and working for the people here in this district and working for the boys and girls, that they would distort and try to turn and lay down your efforts and your desire to make this a better place.
Mrs. Parks,
and that really disturbs me.
Mrs. Parks,
yes.
Did you say that it was Clara Luper that said that they were going to change the name of Douglas?
That's what I was. No, I didn't say that.
What did you say?
It started. I said, they told me, you remember I asked the question, who started all of this business about? We have never discussed this at the Board of Education about a name change. And someone said that lady sitting in the back, I don't know her name, she said, I heard it on the Clara Luper show.
Okay, now, Mrs. Parks, I would like to refresh your memory.
Please.
Dr. Hardeman made a report at the meeting. In that report, she recommended to a committee that the name of Douglas High School would be changed. I reported that to the people.
Oh, okay, when I asked the question, what you heard me right out there, I said, where did this business start about changing the name? We have never.
Okay, let me ask you now, Mrs. Parks, are you going to vote to keep Douglas High School as Douglas High School?
Mrs. Luper, when that time comes, I don't vote at a meeting other than at the Board of Education when a decision has to be made by the board.
Are you going to vote? That's what I want to know.
It's very unfair of you to ask me how am I going to vote. I've just told you.
But
you don't listen.
Just tell me.
Listen.
Just tell me. Wait a minute.
You always want to make a show out of something that is just as simple as the nose on your face. I don't have to tell you how I'm going to vote.
But you have to tell your constituents.
I will tell them when the time comes and it's brought to the board.
The time is now,
when it's brought to the board, I will tell them then. I will even indicate my vote.
Well,
I have said all along that Douglas would not be, the name would not be changed. So you people are just stirring up something. You didn't come to the communicators meeting. You didn't come until you decided you want to come and raise a ruckus.
Raise a ruckus? I just asked a question.
You did, and I thought you was very unfair to me. And I'm going to say this, Miss Lucas.
Yes.
Miss Lucas, please, Clara, get your facts straight.
Well,
I never told you that it was none of your business. I said, I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to vote. I never told that other Clara, and I'm surprised at him, grinning and smiling and my...
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
You were the one that said
I asked you this question. I'm asking you again. Mrs. Parks, if you be quiet. See, that was the problem at the meeting. I'm asking you again. I'm asking you again. Mrs. Parks, are you going to vote for the name of Douglas High School to remain the same? I asked you that in private. I'm asking you publicly.
I would make that decision when the time comes.
Why can't you tell us?
What?
Why can't you tell us?
I don't need to tell you. Come to the board meeting, you'll find out.
Come to every meeting. I got to work. That's why we elected you.
It has never been brought to the board. So why would I be discussing something that has never been brought to the board?
Mrs. Parks.
That's you all out there getting names. And I don't believe that you got 3,000 names. That's okay. But don't start stuff out there in the community about what's going to take place down at the board and say, Mrs. Parks, I elected official. Said it was none of my business. That's not the truth. And you know it's not the truth. I said, I don't have to tell you how I'm going to vote. I don't vote board business in a meeting, a forum on the street. I vote at the board meeting. That's my vote.
Is it any of my business as to how you would vote? Is it any of my business how you would vote?
I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to vote.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not telling you or anybody. Come to the board meeting. If it comes up, it's never been brought down.
Well, you bring it up and tell them that
I'm not going to bring up anything because that's not an issue with me. It has been from day one. Douglas School name will not be changed.
So you're saying that you're going to vote to keep Douglas High School?
I'm not telling you how I'm voting. I don't vote on the television.
But I can tell you one thing. It's been a pleasure.
I will vote at the board when that issue comes. I don't think it's going to come up. I think this was just an opportunity for somebody to go out there and stir up some mess.
Well, if it's mess, if it was mess, I heard it at Douglas High School in the cafeteria.
If it was mess, Thelma Packs did not, and I did not say it was none of your business. I said, I'm not telling you how I vote, and I'm not telling you now.
Okay, but thank you.
That's an issue that needs to be discussed.
Not me. You're talking to your constituents.
I don't think I need to come to them when you're there representing.
I'm wondering if my constituents are really concerned because I didn't see you at any of the communicators meetings.
Well, it doesn't make any difference.
Well, it does matter too. It matters because
I didn't see you at the Freedom Fiesta. I didn't see you.
Luper, you have a good day, but keep your facts straight and stop
my facts are straight
on me. I don't appreciate the distortions that you have.
I've not made any distortions. Well, anyway, you heard her. That's good. That's good.
Your own opinion.
But
well, I tell you,
I didn't hear it. I know that Dr. Hardeman made a report and represented, and she was from the Board of Education or someone else. Well, anyway, thank you, Mrs. Douglas, for calling. No, I will have to listen to my very distinguished guest today. There are some problems that face us as a people. These are some serious problems, and I've invited some people here today to discuss that problem. In the studio today, I have Mrs. Betty J. Beatty, Dr.